Greetings! This is Avalaura Gaither Heyyyy, the spiritual sage, and today I want to have an important discussion with Black women. Any woman who listens to this, in fact, anybody who listens to this or watches this video will be able to benefit from it, but I'm specifically talking to Black women today. And I wanted to have a conversation with you in regards to a wonderful article that I read in ebony.com in the Wellness and Empowerment section, and it's by Josie Pickens, and it's entitled Depression and the Black Superwoman Syndrome. Now, ladies, if this relates to you, I'm sure you already know what this article is about before I even talk about it. But I want to talk about it because this is something that I see with many of my clients right now. I would say the vast majority of my clients are women. It changes. I work with everybody, all ethnicities, all races, all cultures, but primarily right now, most of my clients are women, and right now most of my clients, particularly most of my counseling clients, are Black women. So I see this every day. And when I saw this article, I shared it with all of my social media. So if you follow me on Twitter and Facebook, you would have seen this. If you want to follow me on Twitter, at Healer Avalaura, and on Facebook at Avalaura's Healing Center. And you can use the hashtag Spiritual Sage, and you can see all the things that I post. And I'm certainly going to share this with my mailing list as well. But this is something that I see every day that I work with clients with, and I just want to read to you the subtitle. So it's Depression and the Black Superwoman Syndrome. Josie Pickens shares her personal bouts with suicidal thoughts and how counseling and sharing burdens with others makes for stronger mental health. So that's the summary for this article, and that's really what it's talking about. And you know, how many of you ladies listening think that you have to do it all, that you have to do it all, you have to be it all, that the weight of the world is on your shoulders, that if you don't do it, nobody else is going to do it, or if you don't do it, nobody else is going to do it correctly. You are the only one that can do it. And so therefore, the weight of the world is on your shoulders and you have to do everything. How many of you are single mothers, holding it down for your family, working 2 jobs or always working, not being able to take care of yourself because everybody else gets put before yourself? I'm speaking to you. How many of you feel like if you don't do it, and if you don't get help now, you're about to break? You're about to have a nervous breakdown, that at any given moment, life, everything is just shit is going to hit the fan. It's just too much. You can't take it anymore. I don't know if I can say that on YouTube. But look, this is such an important conversation because recently a woman, now I did not know her personally, but a lot of you did, named Karen Washington. She's 22 years old, and she committed suicide. And I can't say why she committed suicide. I did not know her. Josie, it's certainly in this article, is not saying that she knows why, but she's relating it to her own experience because she can understand why someone might commit suicide because she's been there. And I will tell you that quite a few of my clients have certainly contemplated suicide and been very close, and I've certainly had clients who have had nervous breakdowns who they were in mental hospitals for a while. That's the extreme of things. You might not be there yet, but if you keep going down the path that you're going, you might get there. So I'm talking to you, and I want to share some things that Josie said. She says the particular thing about doing work to uplift others is the world often forgets that the worker also needs uplifting, that the works become heavy, that frequently the work is being performed to soothe one's own soul. And you know, I see this a lot with healers, with social workers, with nurses, you know, with doctors, people in the helping professions, that you're so used to taking care of everybody else that you don't even know how to take care of yourself. And a lot of the work that you're doing, and particularly when I was getting my master's in social work many years ago, I saw this. A lot of my colleagues, and I'm just going to speak truth here, this is true, a lot of my colleagues who were there needed their own help. They had no business getting a degree in social work they needed to go to counseling themselves. But instead of working on themselves, they decide to go into a helping profession to help other people, but really what they were trying to do was help themselves. I see this a lot with people working in the helping profession. They need their own help. But instead of getting their own help, really what they're doing is projecting, and they start to try to help other people thinking that it's going to help themselves. And it doesn't work like that. Healers have to heal themselves. So that's number one. And even again, if you're not a healer, if you're just a woman, again, taking care of everybody else, in order to be able to take care of everybody else, you have to take care of yourself. And I know you've heard this before. I know that this is not new information, but my prayer is maybe you're hearing at the right time to finally wake up. The, light bulb moment goes off and says, you know what? She's talking to me. I need to do something about this. This is very important. So, and again, it's just like you hear, the oxygen mask. You're on the airplane and they say, put your oxygen mask on first, and then the person next to you, whether it's, your son, your daughter, your husband, your wife, whoever it might be, then you put it on them. But you got to put it on yourself first. You have to take care of yourself first. A lot of times what's happening is a lot of you are functioning. You're not even close to 100%. You might not even be on 50% reserve. So every time you're giving to somebody else, you're continuously depleting your own reserve, and so you have nothing left. So that's the first thing that I want to say to you. I'm going to read something else that she says that I think is so important here. She says, masking up as Superwoman is killing us. Whether we meet the death as a result of suicide or the stresses that lead to heart disease and other serious life-threatening illnesses. According to Lottie Joyner's recent post on The Root, stress accelerates the aging Black female bodies, and Black women between the ages of 45 and 55 are biologically 7.5 years older than white women of the same age. So that saying we talk about black don't crack? Well, what about your insides? What about what's going on with your liver, your kidney, with your heart, with your cholesterol, with your blood pressure? What about all of those things? Diabetes, right? All of these things that are literally killing us. This is so important because, again, I see this, particularly because I'm a counselor and I also do energy healing. I see this both ways. I see this when I'm working with somebody emotionally, and also when I am working with somebody, let's say if I'm doing Reiki or chakra balancing or something, when I'm doing energy healing, I can literally feel this in your body. I can feel places in your body that are excessively hot, or that are excessively depleted, and you're just soaking up so much energy because you're drained. You're physically drained. Just the other day, I had a client that she was just physically drained. I couldn't even understand how she was even getting up in the morning to come see me. That's how drained she was. And this happens so much. So literally putting the weight of the world on your shoulders and trying to be Superwoman, trying to be that martyr, you're killing yourselves. And you think maybe just because you look good or everybody else comments on how good you look, because let me tell you something, I'm going to say this to you. The women who see me, I'm telling you, some of my clients are absolutely gorgeous. Gorgeous. Beautiful. And they're beautiful inside and out, but physically beautiful. And I'm going to tell you what happens is because they are so beautiful, because they're educated, because they seemingly have it all together, nobody ever thinks that they have problems. Nobody. So what happens is when they have problems, they don't even know who to go to. They can't go to anybody because they have this facade of having it all together. And then how can they go ahead and admit to other people that they are struggling, that they are spiritually bankrupt, that they are living a life of quiet desperation, that they desperately need help? They can't admit it to anybody. They can't talk about it because not only does everybody think they have it together, but when their friends, their family, their coworkers don't have it together, guess who they go see? They go to them. So again, they're already operating at less than half mast, and then what little bit of energy they have left, they're draining themselves by giving it to other people. So that's another important point that she makes. You know, she talks about her own personal struggle of battling anxiety and depression. And then she says something else. I honestly believe that we're so accustomed to delivering the strong Black woman speech to ourselves and everyone else that we lose our ability to connect to our own humanness and thus our frailty. So, you know, what I took from this is this. A lot of the clients that I see are heavy anxiety, depression, and a lot of that comes from perfectionism. This facade of being perfect. Again, having to have it all, be it all, you know, look good. I mean, you know, all of these things, all of these pressures that you're putting on yourself, and then having to hold down your family, make the money, take care of your family. Even if you're married and have support, you're still doing way more than you need to be doing because nobody can do it as good as you. Right? You feel like that? No, you can't do it. I have a client right now. She's the only one that can do everything. So I talk about delegating responsibilities out. Well, they can't do it. If I don't do it, then it won't get done right. And then I'll have to end up doing it anyway. You know? So she's overwhelmed. She's anxious. She can't sleep. Her mind is constantly going. And she's wondering what, she's about to break down at any moment. If she keeps going on the path that she's on, she's going to break down any moment. Yet, she does not want to change because even though she knows what she's doing is not working, she doesn't know another way. So what we're going through now is really a reprogramming process of teaching her another way. Because she learned from a very early age that she had to be perfect, that she had to be better than everybody else. So this is one of the things in particular Black people struggle with, particularly older Blacks and older my generation, my parents' generation, who grew up in Jim Crow South, that they had to be better. And we still talk about this in the Black community. You got to be twice as good as everybody else, right? Because if you're not going to have the same opportunities that other people are going to have. So you have to be twice as good. You know, my parents certainly grew up in that, didn't get certain opportunities just because they were Black. So they had to be better just to get the crumbs. So a lot of us, we grew up with this behavior, with this thought process that we have to be perfect. We have to be better. We can't be average. We can't be mediocre. And let me just say, that's not a bad thing, because we all want to strive to be the best that we possibly can be. That is a wonderful thing. But when it pushes you too far, when you don't have any balance, when you just take on way too much because you're trying to live up to this false ideal or this false expectation, it literally, truly can kill you. So, ladies, you gotta stop it. You have to stop it. So I want to read a couple more things, and then I want to talk about, she has some tips for you all, and I actually have a few more tips that I'm going to add to her list. She says, somehow realizing I wasn't a rock and that I had honestly never been one, I fought my way out of bed and onto a therapist's couch. I became exhausted with carrying all of the masks and the capes. And I knew if I didn't get help quickly, I wasn't going to survive. You know, I think that this is so important. She finally got help. She said enough already. And something else that she talks about, because I see this a lot, is that when she would go to other people with her struggles, you know, particularly friends, family, women, girl, you strong, you can handle it. You've been through these storms before. You have to just pray and trust God. And I want to say something about this, because look, you know I'm an advocate of prayer. If you follow me, you know I pray hours, several hours a day, okay? Every day. So I'm a firm believer in prayer. But let me say something to you. Prayer without action is useless. It's not about praying and waiting on God. You pray, and then when God shows you something, you take action. A lot of you are waiting on God. God is giving you the answer to your prayers, and you don't even recognize it because it doesn't come in the way that you feel it's supposed to come. And I'm going to tell you another secret. God works through people. This has happened to me so many times where literally a woman will call me and say, I was on the internet looking for something and somehow you popped up. I don't even know where you came from, but you were exactly what I needed. That is an answered prayer. That is how God works. He sends you to the people, to the resources, to the things that can help you. So you have to understand that when you are praying, and I highly recommend that you do, you have to be open to the various ways that your prayers are going to be answered. And you always, always, always have to take action. You can't just pray and say, well, I'm going to wait on God, and just sit there in your house and do nothing. That's not how prayer works, okay? So let's talk about her tips. She recommends she says, to battle against the challenges I face regarding both my physical and mental health, I'm taking the following actions. So she talks about self-care, and I talk about that a lot. And please watch my video. I have a video all about healing and certainly the misconceptions and the secrets to healing. I also have another video where I talk about spiritual counseling and that versus traditional counseling and also life coaching. Please watch those videos because I do talk about self-care. I also have another video that I did on self-love where I talk about self-care. Self-care is very important. Honoring your needs, listening to yourself. This is very important. Taking care, getting enough rest, eating well, exercising, taking a nice hot bath when you need to, taking a nice vacation when you need to. These are all ways of practicing self-care. Just giving yourself time out, sitting in nature when you need to. So all of these things are self-care. She also says, share the load. What does that mean? That means you don't have to do everything yourself. That means delegate responsibilities out to other people. And if other people don't know how to do it as good as you, then teach them. Teach them to fish so that they are not relying on you. Because too many of you have set yourselves up where everybody comes to you for help because you have shown them that they can come to you for help. You taught them that. We teach people how to treat us. So you taught them that that is how they can treat you. So now when they come to you and now you're resentful and angry, why does everybody always come to me? Because you taught them that. You told them that when they need something to come to you. Instead, now you have to retrain them and tell them, go somewhere else. Or this is how you can do it yourself. You don't need to have to rely on me or depend on me. So share the load. The next thing she says is seek professional help. And this is where I come in. You have to get help. And again, I talk about this a lot when I talk about the secret to healing. You cannot do it on your own, and you're not supposed to do it on your own. God gave us all our own different gifts and our talents and our purpose for being so that we can help each other. Okay? So get professional help. Your girlfriends can't help you. Your girlfriends are probably in the same situation as you are, so they can't help you get out of it. You have to get help. And what's so funny is a lot of my clients, again, I remember one of my clients in particular, she took a bunch of my business cards and she said, I'm giving this to all of my girlfriends because all those people who have been coming to me, I realize now why I could never help them. I realize now that every time I was talking to them on the phone for hours trying to help them and they would just go back and do the same things that they were always doing. Now I understand why what I did didn't work. I am not a professional. I couldn't help them. I couldn't do the work that we have done together. So everybody who comes to me, I'm giving all of them my business cards. And she did. She really did. And that's what happens. A lot of my clients, I end up getting referrals because they realized that a lot of what they were doing was just so incorrect. It wasn't working for them. And they are no longer trying to be a martyr. They can't do it anymore. They physically can't do it. So these are her 3 tips. I'm going to add to this that you have to learn how to protect your boundaries. You have to learn how to protect your physical space and release anything in your life that is toxic, whether that be people, whether that be things, whatever it is, whether it be feelings, emotions. You have to protect your boundaries. And protecting your boundaries is more than just the ability to say no. It is simply being able to protect your space. So you have to learn how to protect your boundaries. Also, ladies, we have the gift of intuition. It is a God-given gift. Use your intuition. Listen, pay attention to your feelings. They are there for a reason. They're not there for you to deny them, to repress them, to say that's not important, or I can't deal with this right now, so let me just shove it to the side. They're there for a reason. They give you valuable information. Learn how to use your feelings. Learn how to work with your intuition. It is so important. We have this gift, and every time you deny it, it gets smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller until you can't hear it anymore. So that is a gift because you have to pay attention to your body. I'll give you an example. One of my clients, whenever there's a breakdown coming or whenever it's just taking on too much, legs start to give out, literally start to feel weak. And again, when I'm doing Reiki, I can feel it. I can literally feel it, but it almost feels like the legs are being chopped off. That's the sign. So you don't want to have to get to that point where your body is literally falling apart, but you want to be able to pay attention. So pay attention to your body. Pay attention to your thoughts. Pay attention to your feelings. Know your telltale signs so you know Okay, this is too much. I'm doing too much right now. Let me put this down. So these are some things that you can do when you recognize that you're just doing way too much. Way too much. That you are trying to be that superwoman. Take off that superwoman cape. Stop drinking the Kool-Aid. Kool-Aid ain't good for you anyway. Pick up some fresh water, right? The superwoman Kool-Aid got to go. We got to get rid of it, okay? So, you know, I really hope that this has helped you. You know, I really hope that maybe you will see this as an answered prayer. Maybe you are struggling with some of these things and you happen to run across this video, and I really pray that it helps you to get the help that you need. I look forward to seeing and assisting you, and I do want to say, please pick up my free book, Power, my free ebook. You can get it online at spiritualsage.net/spiritual counseling. spiritualsage.net/spiritual counseling. It gives you a lot of wonderful tips as well, a lot of great information that I really designed based on what I see with a lot of my clients. Also, to learn more information about me and how you can work with me personally, go to my website at www.avalaura.com. I look forward to seeing and assisting you. And until next time, wishing you peace, love, and bountiful blessings.